Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. This episode was supposed to be out yesterday, but I had two power outages keeping that from happening. But we're back finally here for the Career Mode. We're going to Dover in the Xfinity Series today and Kansas in the Cup Series. So we're looking to have a good run in Dover for the Xfinity Series, but the Cup Series race in Kansas might be a different story now, as we had Erik Jones back in the car here in Dover, as he didn't actually have the best qualifying ever. He started down in the 10th position as Justin Allgaier would take the early lead going down the back straightaway as they went down into turn 3, and Jones, he would be able to work his way forwards a little bit by the time he came to about the midway point of this race. A little bit later on, moving up now into the 7th position as he passed Tyler Reddick and the number 9 car as he came out of turn 2, actually making contact with Reddick as they actually got into the wall just about together, and by the time they came to the final lap, Jones would still be in that 7th position just in front of Tyler Reddick as he came through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time. Erik Jones would come out of turn 4 to come through to finish in the 7th position for us in Dover for the Xfinity Series. So a solid start to this season. Obviously, we've had a couple wins here, or one win, sorry, so hopefully we can continue this momentum like we have been so far. And now it's time to set our sights on the Cup Series race. Kansas is a track that I have never finished in the top 10 at in the Cup Series. Hopefully today will be the day. I decided to change it up and go with a completely different setup on this car because we always seem to spin out or wreck from the car getting sideways. So I decided to put a little bit tighter of a setup in the car and hope that it pays off. But as we came out of turn 4 in our qualifying lap, I knew right away that this setup wasn't as good as I needed it to be. As we crossed the line with a 30.824, we will start Kansas from the 20th position. So still as usual at Kansas, we just can't get the setup down, and we have a lot of work to do here, and hopefully we can make that happen.
Good evening, race fans. Tonight, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series is at Kansas Speedway for the running of the KC Masterpiece 400. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, and that means we're about a third of the way through this exciting NASCAR season. What better present for Mom than a win tonight at this 1.5-mile tri-oval? Who will make their way to victory lane and possibly submit a spot in this year's playoffs? Let's head down to the track and find out. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Alright, we are ready to go green here for the KC Masterpiece 400 at Kansas Speedway. Kurt Busch has been dominant all weekend. He starts on the pole. He had a great start to the season, but he slowed down a little bit recently. Michael McDowell, he will start in the back after an engine change in qualifying as we get ready now to start from the 20th position alongside the 24 of William Byron and behind 48 car of Jimmy Johnson, who won the Daytona 500 earlier this season as the green flag is out. And we are underway here in Kansas as we get ready to fight for our potential first top 10 ever at this track in the Cup Series. We've never been able to get a top 10 here, and I knew right away that coming into this opening lap that the setup wasn't good enough to run top 10, so we're likely going to have to make changes throughout this race now as we come out of turn 2 side by side with the 38 of David Reagan as we go down the back straightaway, riding behind the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as we head down into turn 3 and turn 4. We're going to jump up to that top lane, and usually with the setup I used to have in this car, when I would get up here and even just touch that seam just to the left of me, the car would try to spin out, but this time we didn't have that, so that was at least a bonus. But the car just felt a little bit too tight for my likings at this point in the race on this opening lap now as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2 side by side with the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as we're trying to make it 3 wide as we try to get to the right hand side of Eric Almirola as we come into turn 2, but he's going to slide up just in front of me as we get into his back bumper now going down the back straightaway heading down towards turn 3. We're going to continue to try and make this outside work early on in this race as the outside works like a charm every time at Kansas on restarts at least. Now as we come out of turn 4, Stenhouse is going to slide up a bit, and we're going to try and make it 3 wide up the middle with him and William Byron. Now as we come through across the line, Byron moves up into me as we come through heading down into turns 1 and turns 2, and we're going to be able to click off a couple spots there and pass both Byron and Stenhouse and look to the outside of even Bubba Wallace, and we would ride around in the 16th position early on and actually move up to P15 as we came to lap 10 of 19 in this first stage. But I was already noticing the car starting to fall off with this tight setup, so I knew we were going to have some work to do when we hit pit stops. Now as we came to lap 11 of 19, William Byron had gotten past by the 3 now of Austin Dillon. We would get passed by Austin Dillon and fall down to P16 as we came to lap 13, now heading down the back straightaway, trying to use his draft just to hold off cars behind me. I have actually Ross Chastain behind me in P17 as we head down into turn 3. He's going to send it up the inside, and we make contact there with Chastain, but thankfully we hang on to the car, and he just made a bit of a late move, and I just came down as I was already coming down when he made the move in it. I just drove down into him, a bit of a 50-50 if you ask me, and as we came to just 2 to go in the first stage, still now in P18 behind Chastain and Daniel Suarez as we approach the final lap here in stage 1. So clearly we have a lot of work to do, just like we always have to do here in Kansas, but the setup just did not feel good, and I know that right off the bat we have to completely change the way we approach this race next time we go here in the playoffs, just like we've completely changed our approach to Kansas coming into this episode versus how we did the last time at Kansas in the playoffs. Now as we come down the back straightaway for the final time in stage 1, down into turns 3 and turns 4, Chastain up in 17th behind 16th place of Daniel Suarez. Now as we come out of turn 4, we're going to get P18 in the first stage, so a very, very disappointing start to this race, and certainly a good chance though for us to come to pit road and make some changes to this car, as everyone would be pitting. So obviously I'm going to pit as Kurt Busch wins the stage, and we would immediately put the wedge down just a little bit. I didn't want to be too aggressive on it, but we did put the right rear tire pressure up a bit, and hopefully that will help this car drive a little bit more to my likings here in the second stage. And we're ready to go green to start the second stage behind the 41 of Suarez as the green flag returns, and stage 2 is officially underway as Kurt Busch leads as we head down towards turns 1 and turns 2. We're on the outside of Ross Chastain, the Watermelon Boy, now with 17 laps to go in this second stage, so hopefully we can get at least an extra spot out of this stage. Hopefully we can gain some positions at least here before the stage is over. Now is 18th in stage 1, not impressive at all as we come down the back straightaway, looking to the right hand side of Austin Dillon in the number 3 is going to push it up to the outside line as we try to make it 3 wide with Suarez and Dillon. Now as we come through the center of the corners, we actually get onto the seam. If I would have done that last time at Kansas, we would have completely lost the car and wrecked. Now as we come through to cross the line, still side by side with Suarez, and now Ross Chastain as we head down into turns 1 and turns 2. Kurt Busch leads over second place of Martin Truex Jr. in third place Kevin Harvick as they come out of turn 2. Elliott slides up just in front of me now as we come down the back straightaway, looking to his inside as we head down into turns 3. We're going to try and look to the inside of Chastain. A very aggressive move on my part, and we back out of the throttle as I did not want to create an incident there. As we come out of turn 4 though, Newman, he was able to get to my inside as I was pushing up the track, so a very rough start to the second stage, not any better than stage 1 was going now as we haven't gained a single position yet now as we head down into turns 1 and turns 2 on the inside of Elliott, as we do get ahead of him though, and gain that one spot there as we move into P17 behind Ryan Newman. As Suarez, he would get to my back bumper, but we would lose that spot to Suarez as we came now to lap 11 of 17 in stage 2, still in the 18th position behind this big group of cars right in front of me. So we still have an opportunity to at least gain 4 or 5 positions and move ourselves up to like 12th or 13th as we head down into turn 3. Newman sticks it up the inside of Ross Chastain, and he would get past him as well. And as we come into turn 4, it looks like we're going to build up a run on Chastain as well as we head through the tri-oval to hit just 6 laps to go in the second stage. Now as we look just about to the left rear, now we do send it up the inside of Ross Chastain, and we are able to get ahead of him and move into P17 as we look to the outside of Newman, but we lose the momentum as we come out of turn 4 or turns 2, and by the time we came to laps 2 laps to go in the second stage, still in that 17th position as Newman and the other cars had actually started to stretch out the gap a little bit to myself, so we were certainly losing time, falling off quite a bit at the end of the second stage, but we've gained 1 extra position compared to how we ended in stage 1, so we've at least made up a little bit of ground. But once again, a very disappointing second stage here as we come through to cross the line to hit the white flag in stage 2. Newman up ahead in P16, and it looks like potentially Ryan Blaney up there in that 15th position now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2, under 6 seconds behind the leader. In the first stage we were like 9 seconds behind the leader, so we certainly seem to maybe be a little bit faster, but clearly not fast enough, and we're going to make even more changes now as we come through turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time in this second stage. Dillon and Suarez battle ahead as we come out of turn 4. The leader has crossed the line, in 10th place has crossed the line in stage would end, and we would come through to get the 17th finishing position in stage 2. So like I said, a lot of work to be done here as Kansas. We just can never seem to figure out this racetrack as Joey Logano won the second stage, so Kurt Busch Busch has fallen off the lead, but we make another right rear tire pressure adjustment. We decided to make a right front tire pressure adjustment and another wedge adjustment here as we get ready to start this third stage and hope that we have the speed that we need. And we also put the grill tape up, but unfortunately the AI would only take 2 tires, and of course I would get shuffled back to the 31st position. So there's a ton of ground to be made up here in this third and final stage. Can we do it? We're likely not going to have the speed to get a top 10 as the setup just isn't there once again as green flag is out and we start this third and final stage. 25 to go, so not a long third and final stage at all as we head down towards turns 1 and turns 2. Joey Logano at this point leads the way as we have a bit of a checkup here on the inside line as we try to stick our nose up the inside of the 51 of Cody Ware as he left just enough of a gap to give me a chance at making the move, but it doesn't work out now as we head down into turns 3 and turns 4, trying to get to the inside now of the 37 of Chris Buescher as once again they check up a little bit now as we try to make a 3 wide with Cody Ware again, but once again not able to make it happen as we come through the triangle side by side with Buescher as we head down towards turns 1 and turns 2, finally looking up the inside again of the 51 of Cody Ware now on the back bumper of the 00 of Landon Castle as we come through the center of the corner now exiting turn 2, trying to make a 3 wide with Castle and Bubba Wallace, but would not quite having the speed to be able to do that now as we head into turns 3 and turn 4, moving ourselves into the top 30 up to P29 to be exact as we look to the inside of Bubba Wallace and we would get past him, and now we are able to look to the inside of the 00 of Landon Castle and we're going to gain a couple more positions as we head down towards turns 1 and turns 2. Certainly working our way through the field, but I didn't really truly know how much better the car is at this point because we're passing cars that we should not be being beat by. So it's really hard to judge how fast this car truly is right now in this third and final stage as we go down into turn 3 and turn 4, setting it up the outside of Reed Sorensen as we would be able to get past him now as we look to the back bumper of Matt DiBenedetto on the number 95, looking to his outside as we come through the trial to cross the line. 22 laps remain at this point in Kansas as we head down into turns 1 and turns 2, using that outside to my advantage early on in this third and final stage. And we would continue to move our way forwards after passing DiBenedetto, getting up to the 21st position by the time we came to just lap 51, heading down the back straightaway into turn 3. There's trouble up ahead, and he goes spinning up the track as he's going to come back down just in front of me, and we hit him, and we have a horrible crash as we come through turns 3 and turns 4. It's Jamie McMurray and myself as McMurray goes flipping, and we almost join him, and that would completely end our race as the car was destroyed. Over 10 seconds of damage. You know you've destroyed the car when that happens. So we would DNF, obviously, for the second time this season. We've DNF'd more times this season already than we have in our first 3 seasons of our Cup career. Kyle Larson did win this race, but yeah, that was an absolutely terrible crash as we came through turns 3 and turns 4. And we will show a replay right here, once again, of my POV of that incident. I saw McMurray spinning up the track and I tried to go low, but you see he would actually come back down right into my path. We tried to go onto the apron right there, but it just wasn't enough as we just slammed right into the front end of Jamie McMurray. He would be destroyed. I would be destroyed. He obviously went flipping over. We nearly flipped over, but we got really lucky there that we didn't. But an absolutely atrocious finish for us in Kansas. We always struggle at this racetrack, but I certainly did not see that coming. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. That would all be very appreciated. Next time we go to Kansas, once again, we're going to have to completely change the setup because we can never find a setup that runs good at this track. And we need to make that like a goal, is to finish in the top 10 at Kansas at least once in this career mode before it's over. That would be really nice. And same as Chicagoland, which we actually might have a top 10 in Chicago. But in the next episode, we have the Coca-Cola 600. So that will certainly be a fun one. I'm very excited to do that. We usually have a decent amount of speed at Charlotte. We just usually aren't quite fast enough to be a winning car, but hopefully we can go to Charlotte and maybe pull it off. So I'll see you guys in the next one for the Coca-Cola 600. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.